Well, you guys asked for it. I'm starting before the timer's over. Welcome to Mechanical Keyboards Live. I am JB1830, not Ski with Pete, and I have really bad allergies today. But anyways, we're here today to build this Fox Lab Time TKL, which some of you might have seen during my last stream. I kind of showed off since it had just been shipped. I was waiting on 67 gram zealios to be back in stock before I could build this, but they are here now, so I am ready to do this board. Before I get started though, I want to let you guys know that we had new product launches today. We've had, along with a restock of all our regular zealio switches, we also have zealios in stock, and here we go. 4 weights of silence, fancy new colors, some that kind of remind me like Telios, but we have 62, 65, 67, and 78 gram silence in stock. And let me switch to the other camera. What, in stock at oneofkeyboards.com. Jesus Christ, I think people know it's at oneofkeyboards.com, but let me see. Here we go. So here are the new color stems. This is, I guess I'll start from the lightest. We got 62 gram, 65 gram, good old 67 gram, and 78 gram. And I don't know, I'll put it, let me see. Put it over by the microphone. They're pretty good, pretty silent. Yeah, as some of you are asking what kind of stabs I'll be using, the folks from Fox Lab did ship these keyboards with seal stabs, so I have what I believe are round 2 seal stabs. I'm not entirely sure. I guess we'll find out if they still have the popping out issue or not. Last time I used seal stabs, the screw-ins, on my CZ96 build quite a bit ago now. 3 out of 4 stabs popped out, and it's one still actually popped. I have not been able to get in there since the board's fully built, to get in there and snap it back in, but it's one of the it's a plus on the number pad, so I don't use it very much, so it doesn't bother me. But the rest I was able to get in there and force back into position. So I'll be using these with lots of lube so Mange doesn't get mad at me. And I will be building the Time TKL with the new round 9 zealios, 67 grams. I'll also be using Telios for the arrow keys as per request of the owner, and these are all lubed with a Krytox blend. Speaking of lube, a little bit of insider info, we will be getting that sweet new Grade Zero lube that's been going around. I know Krellbit had posted it on the subreddit on our Mechanical Keyboards, but we will be having some in stock next week. I'm actually working logistics now of getting them all prepackaged into little containers since it comes in a bulk order. So you guys can look forward to that next week, as well as some other new products that we'll have in stock. But anyways, we're here, so let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead. Did an unboxing last time I was here, but we'll do another one. Boom. Let's see here. I actually, Binge is just messaging me on my phone. So here we got the PCB. I'll put this aside really quick and show you guys the case, since that's kind of the big thing with this keyboard. This is a black case with the brass colored aluminum plate. It is not an actual brass plate, so I guess it's the gold colored aluminum plate. And obviously the one thing that everybody was kind of going gaga about, it is the back of the keyboard. A lot of nice detail. It's a little much for my taste. Also not the biggest fan of the gears. They don't actually connect. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense as a functional gear set, but it looks cool, and you'll only ever see it if you pick up the board. So this is what we're going to be concentrating on. Build quality looks really good. There's everything, all the edges are chamfered, so everything's really smooth. Anodizing is great. The plate looks great. Unfortunately, it's not openable switches, which is always a minus on my side, but not my board. Still a cool board, but not something I would buy for myself. So it does come kind of assembled. So I'm gonna go ahead and start actually opening that. Let me see. What layout is the Time TKL? This is gonna be just a regular standard layout. Who's asking? Steph. Yeah, so I'm just gonna be doing regular bottom row, US ANSI layout for this. So the first thing I need, since it is already assembled, I'm gonna take it apart. I got 4 screws in here. I believe that's everything that's holding the 2 halves together. Let me see where the tool's at. Then once I get this open, I'll check the fitment of the PCB, because I haven't done that. And then we'll move on to testing the PCB and installing the switches. So it should be a relatively quick stream, I hope, since it is also in the middle of the day. Don't need to be super long. Yeah, I mean, it's cool to look at, but with it being at the bottom of the board, it does kind of defeat the purpose a little bit. But that's just my thought. I don't know, some people like details. I mean, a lot of the fancy weighted boards, you know, they have nice engravings on the bottoms that you'll never really see. I mean, even things like the Clipe, it's like the nice stuff is on the inside, so you can't even flip the board over to see it. All the numbering for the additions and the name and all that stuff only ever exists on the inside of the board. So once you have a plate and a PCB in there, that's game over. So it doesn't seem, I guess, trying to check, all of these are loose. So I'm wondering if I need to loosen these up as well. It is not coming apart. So I'm gonna go ahead and loosen these up. To me in particular, since sometimes I like to switch stuff up in my switches without having to desolder, I just find like most of the time I would rather have a switch top opening. Yeah, this doesn't undo anything but these, but they seem to be screwed in pretty deep, so this might still be holding this in. Let's see. So for those of you who can tell, these are just little onsets. There we go. So now the board is revealed, and as you can see, the plate screws into the top piece on the PCB, which is a normal design on the customs rather than the bottom mounted plate. Trying to see what else is going on here. But all right, so that's good. I'm gonna move this to the side really quick. I'll throw these in here and move on to the PCB, since I just wanted to see the inside of the case. Oh, lid is on the side down here. Alright. So two things I'll be doing with the PCB. Here we'll be testing it first. I'll make sure that it works. And then we'll be getting it mounted on the plate. You know what? After I do that, I'll go back to the case and totally remove the plate so I don't have to deal with the top aluminum piece on the case. So here's the PCB. These came fully pre-soldered. This is a very no frills black with gold PCB. There is no underglow RGB since there is no acrylic of the sort on the case. Looks like it supports Alps, which is cool. And that's it. I will not be installing LEDs on this case either. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a USB cable and test this really quick. USB cable over here. That's very tight. Give me 1 second here. Having issues getting the cable to go in to the port. I'm trying to figure out why that is. The gaps and everything seem fine, but there's a lot of pressure there. It goes. It's very, very tight. I guess it's a good thing. Alright, so now that's plugged in, I'm just gonna go over here, click on the chat window, and using tweezers, I'm just gonna short a couple of these. And I'm not getting any signal. Oh, there we go. There's the S. There's some G's. Let me see if I can get some numbers going. Yep. Alright, so I'm pretty confident everything here works. And for those that don't believe me, here's what I just typed. Shorting out the switches. Cool. Alright. So with that tested and confirmed working, I'm actually going to go back to the case and remove the plate from the top piece. I'm just going to use the foam here. Make sure we're not getting any scratches. And I'm going to go ahead and remove these. I don't actually own any machined custom TKL, so this is the first board that I'm actually building with this style of plate with a case mounted, with a top case mounted plate. Kind of going in blind into these over here. I can't see because of the ledge. Let me spin this around. It is, I will say this top piece is very lightweight. So most of that weight is on that bottom part of the case, which is pretty hefty. Let me see, we got some people in the chat. Guys, remember, we're just getting started, but make sure to give us a thumbs up, as that helps get some more people into the stream over here. And if it's your first time here and you want to see more videos like this one where we do keyboard builds as well as review other keyboard related stuff as well as electronics, make sure to subscribe. So there's the plate. That's all I need for now. That's what the top looks like without the plate. See a little brass piece here that perfectly fits into the little drilled out time name badge thing, whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna put this aside. All right. Steph asks if the silence have the same scratchy sound like GAT silence. Well, you can't see it, but there is a microphone right here. Here's the GAT. I'm gonna hold my breath and see if you can hear it, so pay attention. It's kind of scratchy, I guess. I mean, I'm gonna listen to the... They sound identical to regular zealios, non-silent. I mean, obviously the silencing doesn't really sound much different when it's not on a board. I think coming back up, that's the regular zealio 67 gram switch, and then this is the silent. As you can tell, the noise that you're hearing is my finger pressing down. So you can see me, but there is no clacking when it returns once the switch resets. I don't feel like they sound any scratchier than the regular zealios, and I haven't tried the Gateron silence. I've only had the Cherry silence, which I used for the for one of my last builds, the Clipe, not the Clipe. Blanking on the name. My other Mechanisk board. Why can't I think of the name? The Fiel. My Fiel, I used modified silent cherry reds, and those didn't have any. I didn't think they had any scratchiness to them as far as the sound, but maybe I'll go home and double check later. But anyways, I'm gonna get started. So I'm gonna grab my switches and pop a couple in, get them placed on the PCB, and then get to soldering. So like I said, we got a bunch of the new round 9 zealios. 67 grams is what I'll be using, and these have been pre-lubed with a Krytox mix, basically. I would say this is more thick than thin lube for sure. For these, I particularly think that a thicker mix works better. But alright, so I'm just gonna place the corners here, and I don't have a key set either, since once this is built, it will be going to the owner, who I don't know what key set he's putting on. So unfortunately, we won't get to see it with a key set. And the PCB is south-facing LEDs. Cool. Let's see. Come on, we got 17 people watching and only 6 thumbs up. I even got a thumbs down. It's like my new thing. So make sure to give me a thumbs up. Maybe we'll get some more people up in chat. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask on chat. I can always answer while I am building the board here. I'm just placing a random assortment of switches to get this lined up with a PCB. And I am foregoing cutting the pegs because these are 5-pin switches. Hopefully the tolerances on this board aren't too tight that it becomes a pain in the butt, which a lot of the times it does. Keyboard Builder asked if I bought GMK 9009. I did not. While I do like the classic look, classic key sets just really aren't my thing. But it does seem like it was a great goodbye and that everything went smooth. So anytime a group buy goes well, kudos to the runners. And I believe Dixie Mech did the US proxy. And everything seemed to ship out on time, which is always a plus. What about you guys? Anybody else here get a 9009? And I've got a question there. Will wanna be restocking Panda switches? We will be, and we are currently waiting on an order of Pandas. I do not have an exact date of when they will be ready, but keep your eyes peeled for that. You can always subscribe to our email newsletter on oneupkeyboards.com to receive an email about our new product launches. I'm certain you will see a Panda announcement on there, so hopefully sooner rather than later. But yeah, they've gotten really popular lately with a lot of switch mods using Panda switches, the housings in particular, for things like Holy Pandas and whatnot. So we have sold out, I think just recently. What's it been, a week or two since we sold out of Pandas? What's that?
Yeah,
about that. Yeah. So we did place an order before they sold out, but it still takes some time to manufacture and get them in and sort and all that stuff. Really digging the tolerances on this PCB. I'm having 0 issues getting these zealios to sit flat without having to cut out the pegs. Oh, you know what I did? I forgot to put the stabs on, didn't I? Herp derp. I got so excited with the switches here. And now I'm gonna have to pull this right off. There. I knew I felt like this was going way too fast, but that's alright. At least I didn't start soldering things. That would have been depressing. Alright, I got all these little suckers here. I'm gonna move them out here. Alright. Yeah, it seems like the Panda housing is just the housing that everybody wishes all the switches use, just because the tolerance is so good on them. They're so tight, it makes clicky switches much crisper. And anything tactile, just because of that tightness, you get much more feel on there. All right. Go through here. Can't tell if this is a 6U or a 6 1/4, and a 6 1/4 and a 7U. I'm gonna put the 7U aside and see what's going on here. These over here, they're alright. They've got nowhere to go. And I've got a bunch of gold screws here too, which I need to set aside as well. What is this? Huh, it seems like I have a broken housing of sorts here. Trying to find, I don't know, you guys can't see it. I'll switch to action cam, but I have this little piece right here. I'm trying to find which of these housings it belongs to, because I might have a broken one. I cannot tell where that's coming from. Oh, there, of course, it's the very last one. Well, that is a shame. So, 2, 1, 2. Cruds. That means I will not be able to finish this. Ah, that's disappointing. That's kind of a bit of a letdown. I have one of the clear screw-in stabilizers is broken. It has a piece that is broken off. Clear screw-in, so I don't have a replacement for this.
You work with normal stabs?
It would be a shame to just have one non-screw-in stab. It's not like I can glue this in either. Oh guys, this is a bummer. Let me see. I'm just trying to look at this. There really is nothing I can do about this. Just this is what holds the wire in here. The only solution would be to use a non-screw-in in one of the spots. I'm gonna have to call the owner of this really quick, so I'm gonna have to put you guys on on the BRB screen, possibly for a few minutes. Yeah, I just want to make sure, because I do have clear stabilizers, so I could potentially replace one or a pair with a clear stabilizer. And I'm gonna switch back to the action cam so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So this is what the stabilizer housing looks like, and you can see here on the right, that's the clip on the PCB, so that would be the small hole, and then this is the big hole on the PCB, and this one that is broken has the regular hole, but where the small hole is, basically what is the hook has broken off. So without being able to hook, obviously this even screwed in, it's going to lift on one end. This is the end that clips the wire, so the wire would be loose too. So it cannot have that, but I can replace this with a non-screw in. Preferably replace the pair with a non-screw in, and I'd probably do this for one of the two U's. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to throw you guys on the Be Right Back screen while I take a minute to try to reach out to the owner, or let me see if I can try to do on my phone. I'm just going to Slack them really quick. Yeah, I definitely don't want to cut corners if I don't have to. I mean, replacing one of the screw-ins with a regular stabilizer, it's not that big of a corner per se. I would definitely probably do the pair rather than have one on one. So yeah, let me get that figured out. Anybody else got any builds going on? I'd love to hear. I know a couple of things have been delivered as of late. There's a couple 60%s, right? The E6s and the E8s are out, I think. I have trouble keeping up with all the group buys. I know the Tokyo 60 group buy went up, which is disappointing that it was on mass drop, and it's even more disappointed than that it doesn't even offer, the first group buy isn't going to offer acrylic base for the RGB. It's kind of unfortunate. So yeah, I just checking that out because the drop just went up either yesterday or today. So that was kind of a bummer to see that they're not releasing that board the first run. But basically what I consider one of the best parts of its design is that bottom acrylic piece. And for those of you just joining right now, I'm waiting to hear back from the owner of this keyboard that I'm building right now. I'm having an issue where one of the seal stabs, which we just removed from the packaging, is snapped. One of the little feet is snapped, and I could potentially replace it with another clear stab that is not screw in. Yeah, Dr. Doom Apple, I wish that was the case. The same with I tend to use split backspace. So if I was doing a split backspace build, I wouldn't have to worry about one of those stabs. But Unfortunately, that's not the case, as the owner had requested a full ANSI build. So,
Split
I'm
right
just...
shift?
What's that?
Split right shift?
Yeah, no request for anything. He just wanted standard.
You're like, that's not standard. What do you mean?
Standard split.
Split right shift is standard?
No, it's not. Steph is saying split right shift is standard.
No, I'm kidding.
She's not kidding. She's trying to get me into trouble here. Man, this is a real bummer. Well, while I'm waiting to hear a response, which I may or may not hear, and if I don't, then I'm unfortunately going to have to cut the stream super short. But has anybody been watching the Olympics? I know Steph and I were keeping an eye out on men's skating, ice skating today. Short program ice skating, sorry, I'm not that technical. It was pretty interesting. Ski with Pete. Pete is saying go split right shift. If I get an answer back, I could do it. Let me see. Yeah, I'm trying to reach out to the owner of the build, but I am not getting an answer back. I mean, it's basically impossible to swap out stabilizers once they're in there. Because if I did, if I replace one of the broken ones with a non-screw in on the far left edge of the left shift, then it would be the most easily accessible. But even having that there with everything soldered around it, it would be damn near impossible to create enough of a gap to pop it out, slide it out, and insert a new one and put the wire back in. So I'm gonna say that's not a good idea. Unfortunately, the owner of this build is also in a different time zone. They're on the West Coast. So being a Friday, it's a possibility they're in school and unable to answer, which kind of seems to be the case. Guys, this is a bummer. I had checked these last week, but didn't take them out of the bag. I looked through the bag and nothing seemed out of place. And honestly, it's the first time I've seen a break here. They were very nicely packaged. They were in their own bubble mailer. So I'm kind of upset that they are broken, but I'm gonna give the owner here a few more minutes before I call it a stream. But let's see. Well, we got 15 people watching. Just kind of hanging around, waiting to see what happens. Yeah, man, I was looking forward to finishing this build. Like I said, the owner is on the West Coast, and he was going to be traveling to New York City, not for any keyboard related reason, but I was going to be able to hand this over to him in person, which was going to be pretty cool. But hopefully I can still do that. Might not be able to do it on a stream, but I'm gonna have to finish the keyboard on my own time back at home, not at one of Keyboard's headquarters. I got 206 AMG asking if those are seal stabs. Yes, they are seal stabs. We're getting ready to install them on this Time TKL PCB as I'm doing the build right now. But unfortunately, one of the stabs has snapped, or it came snapped. And I do not have a replacement screw-in stab for this. So it has kind of brought this build to a grinding halt. Since I am trying to get with the owner of this build right now, trying to reach out to see what he wants to do, but they seem to be out of reach at the moment. I'm gonna give it another 5 minutes and then make a call on whether to continue the stream or not. For those that are here though, if I do not get in touch with the owner for this build, could work on something else. I mean, I have a KC60 that I can desolder. If you guys are interested in watching me desolder another board, or we don't have that many people on chat. It's only about 15 of you watching the video today, which is great. But there's not that much activity, so I don't know if doing a Q&A of any sort is gonna have much of an impact. So yeah, let me grab that KC60 for you guys. So I have this KC60 with blanking on the name now, with these stabilizers, the CoStar stabs, which I'm not super fond of, so I did want to remove this particular board. It has LEDs and switches, which switches desoldering. At home I don't have a desolder gun, so with the pump switches are fine, but the LEDs are a royal pain in the butt. So we do have, Pete has a desoldering iron pump all-in-one Hacko magnificent tool that I was going to use to take this apart, so I could reuse the PCB on a different plate with PCB mounted stabs, or at least cherry style stabs. And I see Adam 010 is all about watching me desolder. I just want to clarify that I will be using a desoldering iron, which makes the whole job way easier than trying to use a hand pump. And excuse me, I'm about to sneeze, I think. There it is. Oh man, I still hold off this long. Got allergies going on this week for some reason. I guess maybe early spring with how warm it got. So yeah. And then for those of you that haven't been keeping up, we got the one-up keyboard 60% PCBs with RGB underglow, super bright. Good solid 60% PCB with a couple form factors, layouts. No split spacebar support, but you got all the usual suspects for a pretty good price. And that's all available at oneupkeyboards.com, of course. Yeah, I'm not hearing back from the owner of the board, so I am going to hold off, unfortunately, on this build. Let's see. And alright, so I'm gonna put this away. I only have one person interested in seeing me desolder the board. If I get a little bit more interest, 2 or 3 more people, and it'll make it worth it. If not, we'll end the stream early today, and I'll either do this board on my own time or at a later date here on the stream. Although, given how bad my nose is getting right now, I might want to pass on that altogether. I'm gonna wait since I know we got the delay. Still got 16 people watching. We got 12 thumbs up. We're doing all right. We had some regulars on the chat. I know some more people are gonna get here a little later, since we are in the middle of the day, but doesn't seem like I'm gonna be able to stick around to do anything. All right. Well, I think I'm gonna call it. Thank you guys for showing up. I'm sorry that it got cut so short. This was very unexpected. Like I said, it's the first time I've had a stabilizer broken like that, and unfortunately with it being a seal screw-in stab, I do not have a replacement for it. And since this is not my own personal build, I didn't want to make any calls on how to go about completing this build, whether replacing the screw-in with a regular stab or switching the layout, so we needed one less stabilizer. But unfortunately, without being able to make that call, I have decided to cut the stream short. Well, thank you guys again for stopping by on this unfortunate midday stream. I'm sure Pete will be back on maybe this weekend. Has he talked about streaming at all, Steph? No.
But that doesn't mean he won't.
Yeah. He does have some goodies and stuff that he could build on the stream. Sorry, James. James, RIPing here. Then we're about to sign off. Well, thank you very much for stopping by. I'll keep you guys updated in the Discord channel. If you're not a member of the Discord channel, make sure to check it out in the description. All kinds of news and updates go on in there, the One Up Discord. Keep an eye out on the website. We got some new products that launched today. We got the Silence and a restock on Zealios and some other keycaps. And then next week we'll be having some cool launches with some new lube for switches, some new brass plates, possibly more key sets, I don't know. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you again soon.